Everyone is calling the MacBook Neo the cheapest MacBook ever. And I think that's really a boring way to look at it. Because the real question is this the first MacBook that makes sense for your kid?
For the longest time, parents had two lanes. Lane one, hand down an older laptop that's still powerful, but honestly way more machine than your kid actually needs. Lane two, buy a Windows laptop or a Chromebook, not because it was better, but because it made more sense financially. A Mac felt premium. It felt polished. It felt easier to live with, but it also felt too expensive to justify as the first laptop for a kid who's mostly living in the cloud anyway. So parents would compromise, not because they wanted to, but because the price made the decision for them.
And that's exactly why the MacBook Neo is interesting. This is the MacBook for the parent who's thinking, I don't want to buy past their actual needs. That is a very different conversation.
You wouldn't buy your kid a Lamborghini as their first car, not because it isn't amazing, not because it isn't powerful, because it is completely disconnected from what they actually need. That's kind of what a higher end laptop can feel like for a lot of students. You're paying for extra horsepower, extra headroom, extra pro features, when what they really need is something dependable, fast, portable, and easy. That's what makes the Neo smart. It doesn't feel like a budget computer. It feels like Apple looked at real student life and said, what do you actually need to get school done well? A good screen, a real keyboard, a real trackpad, and battery life that survives the day. A laptop that opens, works, and stays out of the way. That's a much better first laptop philosophy than just throwing specs at people. And if your family is already in the Apple ecosystem, the values start stacking up in ways that matter in real life. This is the stuff spec sheets don't really capture. It's the fact that it talks to your iPhone. It's the fact that setup feels familiar. It's the fact that the whole experience is built for people who don't want to troubleshoot the computer like it's a side hobby. And as a parent, little things become big things. Find My on a laptop? Huge. Because kids forget stuff, adults forget stuff, everybody forgets stuff. And if you're already using an Apple Watch, even the lower storage config starts making more sense for some people. Because now you've got another easy way to unlock your laptop and approve things without obsessing over not having every premium option.
Most parents aren't shopping for a benchmark. They are shopping for peace of mind. They want a laptop their kid can open and just use.
Yes, the internet is going to freak out about 8 gigabytes of RAM. And for certain buyers, sure, that conversation matters. But I think people forget that Apple controls the hardware and the software. The thing is optimized around Mac OS in a way a lot of cheaper Windows laptops just aren't. So no, I would not buy this as my main pro machine for heavy sustained workloads every day. But that's not the job. The job is browsing. The job is writing. The job is video calls. The job is cloud apps. The job is doing normal life without the computer feeling slow, cheap, or annoying. And for that, this makes way more sense than people want to admit. I also think the base 256 gigabyte model is going to be enough for a lot of students. That sounds crazy until you remember how much of school life is cloud-based now. Google Drive, Docs, Slides, class portals, email, streaming, shared folders. If the laptop is mainly a school machine, not a giant local media vault, 256 can absolutely be workable. But you're already wearing an Apple Watch, that softens the blow a lot for some buyers. Would more storage be nice? Of course. Would Touch ID on every model be nice? Absolutely. But I can already hear a lot of parents saying, wait, so the cheaper one still does the actual job? And that's the whole point. And here's the twist. Even though I would never position the Neo as a creator-first laptop, that doesn't mean it's helpless the second you ask a little more from it. If your kid decides to edit some 4K footage from a class project, they can. If they want to do some photo editing, they can. If they want to make a presentation that's a little more ambitious than the usual school stuff, they can. That's what I actually like about this machine. Its ceiling is higher than its marketing. It's not selling itself as a tiny MacBook Pro. It's selling itself as an everyday MacBook. And honestly, this laptop might accidentally be for parents too. Because if you already own a MacBook Pro, you know the feeling. You baby it. You protect it. You put a case on it. You cover the keyboard. You treat it like a very expensive object. And that's part of why the Neo is kind of refreshing. It still feels nice. It still feels premium. But it doesn't feel so precious that you're scared to actually use it. As a travel laptop, that matters a lot. Sometimes you don't want to lug around the Pro machine. Sometimes you want the Mac that handles life without making you feel like you need to wrap it in bubble wrap.
So here's who I think the MacBook is actually for. It's for the high school student. It's for the college student. It's for a parent who wants their kid's first laptop to feel premium without having to pay extra for a bunch of other features they're not going to use. For the Apple user who just wants a simple laptop that just works in the ecosystem that they're already in. Is the MacBook Neo for everybody? No. But that wasn't the goal. The goal is simpler than that. This is the first MacBook in a long time that Apple has made where Apple understands the difference between more laptop and just enough laptop. And for a lot of people, especially parents, it's exactly the right laptop. If you're buying for a future engineer, a filmmaker, or somebody who already knows that they need more power, this isn't the laptop for them. But for the average student, this might be the smartest laptop Apple has made in a long time.